Our next question is going to be directed to, is it Dr. Lancer? Dr. Lancer by Truman Children's.
Okay. Please give us an example of a time that you worked collaboratively with others, and what, if anything, did you learn, and what was your role?
Working collaboratively. Well, I would say probably the most recent example of that came a few years ago when I assumed my position at Butler as the assistant director of the honors program. And one of the things I wanted to bring into honors was a faculty-led study abroad program. This required us to get all sorts of approvals, closely with our Center for Global Ed. But for me, as an American historian who now wants to take students abroad, or to see the world myself, I needed a partner. And so I partnered with one of our German professors in the modern languages department. And we not only created a wonderful trip experience for students to Berlin, Germany, but we also created a class that went along with that. It was taught first time across the semester when we went during spring break. And to get to work alongside my colleague, Dr. Etzler, to learn from her, but also, she said it felt like she was back in undergrad on the days I was teaching. Sort of, we did a Germans and Americans in Germany theme. But then to take those students abroad and to watch for those aha moments. We ended up doing a lot more on-the-spot lecturing. And I can tell you as an educator, the on-the-spot, to be able to talk about the Berlin Wall when you're standing in front of the Berlin Wall, or what's left of it. And to explain to students who were born after the wall came down what the wall was all about. Was probably one of the high points of my career so far. And so just the learning in that sort of cross-disciplinary, interdisciplinary mode for me was better than 100 workshops possible.
Mr. Wilson, you want to address that question in about 2 minutes?
Absolutely. So prior to being a State Farm agent, my role was in leadership with State Farm, hiring, coaching, and developing State Farm agents. I had 40 agents that I got to work with. And you may not know, State Farm has a bank. And State Farm has a really, really good bank. And one of our biggest challenges is to help our agents make sure they're offering our bank services to customers. They're used to car insurance. They're used to the things that everybody asks for. But not as much the things that people don't know as much about. So my challenge was to help our agents and team members more effectively offer State Farm bank options to our customers. In order to do that effectively, I had to work with our agents, the team members that work for them, the underwriting and service teams at State Farm Bank, as well as our agency field specialists. I had just finished reading a book, I believe it was called The Checklist Manifesto, and it's about, in the medical industry, how you have a checklist to make sure you do everything every time, that things don't get missed. And so we developed a checklist with all of these partners so that when opportunities arise for customers to be serviced by our bank products, we are asking all the questions that can best help us understand what the customer needs and come up with the best solution. And so we came together from all different sides to develop that checklist, and now it's being used by all the agents on my team so that they make sure they get the right information from the customer up front. They ask extra questions. So while a customer may be asking about one car loan, we make sure, hey, are there other ones? Maybe they need help with a down payment that we can get money from other cars. So it became a collaborative effort. What I learned, and I didn't take enough time up front, was it's really, really important to connect with everybody who's going to be a part of this first and understand their goals and the things that they're struggling with and trying to accomplish, so that together we identify the common goals and work to those first, rather than just going in and saying, hey, I need to help agents sell more bank loans. It needs to be, hey, we need to help agents submit the correct information so that when the information gets to underwriting, their job's easier. We need to develop a common language so our field specialists can work with agents effectively as well. So that was my learning.
Thank you. Mr. Brown?
I have to say, in 2011, I was a national anti-bullying speaker, traveling the country speaking. I would leave these schools and realize that it was a great 45 minutes, but it never changed culture. And so that bothered me. And so my wife, who's an amazing educator, we had a conversation about how do we develop a program that helps change culture. And so ultimately, I went to the drawing board and created a program that was for students, for teachers, counselors, and staff, for coaches, athletic directors, principals, superintendents, and administrators. And when I built that program, I had to do a lot of collaboration. So, for example, we reached out to Church and Hill and worked with Seamus to vet it from a legal perspective to make sure everything that I was teaching in training and development was in line with state guidelines. Worked with Herff Jones and Office Depot that sent me on a national tour all across the country to help pay to have this program implemented in several schools. And then at the end, when I saw it come to full fruition, was when I was in Fort Wayne, and after I got done speaking, a kid named Matt came up and he said what many kids often will say in that environment, which was, hey, today you saved my life. And that's always a tough question because you don't know where he's going with that. And on that day, I asked him, what does that mean? He said, well, I wasn't going to come to school today, but today was my last day. I had made the decision that after today, and I said my last goodbyes, I was going to take my life. He said, but I had to come to your thing this morning, and I realized that I do have hope and there's opportunity and people do care about me. People love me. And that was the cool part of it, but it wasn't over then because that's when the toughness comes in where you have to have the hard conversation about sitting down with his counselor and his principal and bringing his parents to the table to make sure that he is truly okay. And seeing situations like that happen in schools all across the country is a piece of me that I can't say that I did. I collectively had to collaborate across so many different lines, so many different places to be able to accomplish something like that. And it just taught me so much about what you can do with more people is exponential versus what you can do by yourself.
Thank you.
So I'm sure we have all these areas that you do collaboration. Probably the main one is I've been married 25 years. That's definitely a good example of collaboration.
Sure.
But I've been department chair. I've got business partners. As a 50% owner, you have to agree on the big stuff. But the stuff that we disagree on are like contract negotiations. Probably the most analogous to a school board would be I've sat on, I think, 3 or 4 nonprofits. So the Colorado Coalition of Adopted Families. I'm on the board now of Conquest Cycling, but also Christian Cycling. I sat on their board for probably 25 years. And it's that type of work when you're looking at vision and outreach, and it's a lot of fun stuff. It's stuff that's easy to agree on. But every once in a while you get where there's strong feelings on both sides. And relationships, I teach this in my class and with my managers at work, that relationship is everything in an organization. And I think protecting that relationship is really key. So when you do get into those situations where you agree or disagree, a friend of mine, Bob, has a statement that let your feelings be your teachers. So when you start to feel, either in your own life or in somebody else's, that anxiety comes up or there's fear, and it's really taking a moment when you have respect for the person and you care about them, is being able to take a step back and reflect, all right, so what is this about? And what can I do about it? So I would say taking really some time on reflection, asking some questions that aren't necessarily pointed, but would help the person do some reflection, but also take some time. Again, back into the marriage, I'm sure we've all had experiences where taking a night off, let's wait and just talk about this in the morning. And once you have moved outside, I don't know, but I get a lot of bright ideas in the shower for some reason in the morning, or on a bike ride, and then you have that epiphany and you have that clear mind, you can come back, and then you're able to talk about that issue. So I think for me, really being able to focus in on relationships in collaboration is